I believe to be an historic hearing, and that the three witnesses are with us this morning. I don't believe have ever appeared jointly before this committee. The Secretary of Housing, the Secretary of Transportation, and the Administrator for the Environmental Protection Agency together at one hearing on a common theme. So we thank all three of our secretaries.
So there literally is a meeting every week where HUD, DOT, EPA get together, either as the leadership or as staff who are trying to make change within the agencies, to talk about best practice, to talk about opportunities to streamline funding, to talk about ways that we really can plan to invest in communities more strategically. I think the other thing that's happening is you're starting to see a realization of the robust conversation that was happening in a lot of regions around the country on the ground with our field staff. But now that's becoming more formalized, and we're looking for opportunities to co-invest.
What this is about is groups coming together and looking at their respective policies and programs, busting their silos, so to speak, breaking down those barriers between each other, and asking how we're going to get the best outcome from communities.
But what we do want to do is create the synergy for all the wonderful investment programs we have at the federal level to support that local vision. And I think Fairmont is the perfect example of our great work in working with our stakeholders to accomplish those objectives.
There has been a lot of work done that people are embracing. They're seeing the challenges, but they're also seeing that their voices are being heard and respected.
And if you know about the Fairmont Line's history, this was established in 1855. Over the years, it had tremendous service, and then I think in the early 70s, the service stopped. And at that point, I think there were close to 13 stations along the line, 11 or 13 stations along the line. They all closed down. There was a lot of protest from the community. And the community has been organizing for close to 2 decades to demand environmental, social, economic justice.
But along the corridor, about 90,000 people can walk to any of the proposed stations or the current stations. There has been underutilized rail service. So the average person is $17,000 income, less than the city average. They have, 50% do not own cars. So they're 4 times more transit dependent than the average Boston Metro resident. Their average commute is 1 hour and 15 minutes.
And it takes about 1.25 hours to get downtown from this spot right here without the train stations. Once they are here, 15 minutes. We're right in South Station, and in about 35-40 minutes we'll be at the airport. And we expect over 1,400 boardings at the Four Corners stop alone per day. So this is going to really change the lives of the people here. Not have to drive cars, reduce pollution, and be able to get on a train and get to where they're going more equitably, just like other locations.
And this is not just a convenience factor, it's an economic mobility issue, because we have 50% of our population, roughly, that actually works downtown. So that's the story of transportation in our neighborhood.
Some of the challenges are violence, high asthma rates. There's a 22% asthma rate in the Dorchester area as of 2008 when a study was done.
I'll just rattle off a few other statistics for you. For instance, men over 25 not in the workforce, children in poverty, concentration of single-parent households, high rates of asthma, high rates of obesity, food deserts, anything that you can possibly think of that might be a problem or a need or a challenge is actually concentrated in this area.
So one of our colleagues, Jean Dubois from Dorchester Bay, was the one that kind of coalesced us back in 2004 to say, hey, we all have this rail line going through our community. It doesn't really stop. It's not adequately serving our community. So, do you want to think about working together?
These 4 organizations that came together, we've actually supported their efforts. We actually recently gave them $1 million just to do the work. We have with us a couple of very key partners as funders who have been at the table right from the get-go, Boston LISC, the Himes Foundation, and also the Barr Foundation.
We are taking this significant investment that the federal, state, and local government are making in transit improvements and using that as a catalyst for a broader community transformation effort. We've invested $4 million in equity in 2 real estate development projects along the corridor, including 157 Washington, which is the EPA supported Brownfields work there as well, very close to the new Four Corners transit stop.
The projects that we've worked on with EPA to start, 157 Washington Street, which just broke ground about 2 months ago. That project, the EPA provided us with several $100,000 in remediation and other site development work to actually develop 24 units of affordable housing. So that work is underway right now. That's a really pivotal work.
We were able to secure $110,000 in technical assistance from the Brownfields program, the Office of Smart Growth, and the Office of Underground Storage Tanks. The Talbot Avenue Station Transit-Oriented Development Area, we did a visioning session with the local community to help address some of their concerns and help get some of their vision down on paper.
The EPA's assistance helped design a concept for the Talbot Commons, so it was more of a community planning exercise. And that again helps vet these TOD projects, transit-oriented development projects, with the neighbors. You're working with the neighbors instead of on the neighbors. Almost all our projects are brownfields, so we're not afraid of them, and CDCs can get resources from both the state and now EPA, which is just a blessing, because that can kill or build a project. So when we know what's in the ground and we know what the price of the cleanup is, then we can go forward because there are resources.
There used to be a car lot or a junkyard here, and so you had junky cars piled up. You just had mounds of dirt and debris. People used to run by here, just throw their trash here. So this whole area is like a giant debris field. They were the driving force. I mean, they looked and they saw this eyesore, and they had the vision of saying, oh, this could be something better. And the fact of the matter is we need housing. So, they were looking at that, and they had the dream and the vision. The transformation is amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
And now we have a much more coordinated strategy, both with respect to our relationships with the federal agencies, HUD, DOT, EPA, city agencies and interventions, whether it's housing investment, green jobs creation, energy efficiency investments that the city and our local partners are making, as well as our community-based organizations who are on the ground working every day to make that area more sustainable. So today we are at a moment in time where this train is all working together.
FTA has invested $37.3 million, and the state has now invested another $137 million to build 4 additional stations.
We have 3 stations in construction. This one here currently at Four Corners. There's another one down at Talbot Avenue, and there's another one in Newmarket Square, which is right behind the South Bay Shopping Center. And there's an additional station going in between the Commons Highway and Blue Hill Avenue section. Roughly in 3 years, the residents will be able to utilize all the stations along the corridor.
I was very excited yesterday when I went by there, because usually you go by there and you're like, okay, when am I going to see the actual kind of work going on? And yesterday you could see the fruits of our labor and the fruits of all the community coalition and community residents advocacy. I mean, we were out there with 300 residents, rah-rahing 4 years ago saying, where's our stop? Governor, give us our money to bring this stop in. And then fast forward, here we are with those cranes and construction material actually building the station. So it's really gratifying.
And so today, the day of celebration. The day of celebration, one day, the people who live in that house over there will jump on the commuter rail and go downtown to the jobs in those towers down there. That's what this is all about. Bring an economic opportunity for people who live in our neighborhoods.
So I want to thank you all and congratulate you all, and especially congratulate the activists in the state who have come together in great partnership to make this happen. And we'll keep talking about this wherever we go throughout the country. So this becomes the model of how we do environmental policy, housing policy, and transit policy in America. Thank you very much.
The unglamorous work of rebuilding our roads, rails, bridges, expanding broadband is just that. But it enables everything else. It creates jobs right now and go congratulate one of the folks in those hard hats and bright orange vests today, because they're working on account of jobs like this.
My name is Christine Rawls. I live over in Dorchester off of Columbia Road. I have 3 daughters. I'm just thankful to have this job. Well, it's helping a lot, you know. I mean, we don't have to really do the lunch thing at school anymore. You know, we get good health insurance. You can finally put a car on the road, you know, pay some bills, look out for some family, you know, some friends, you know, just something that you can exhale a little bit and do a little bit more now.
Well, there's an old African proverb that says when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. How can we, as opposed to doing individual efforts, coalesce with other organizations?
If you had asked me about partnerships prior to 2004, I would have probably said they're the kind of things that funders require you to do, that you basically have forced marriages that are pains in the neck. But we started this ourselves.
It sounds corny, but we're talking about people's joy. It's about having a quality of life. Having a transit line like this is a blessing because it just creates an economic umbilical cord that really will give us a lot of new vitamins for the neighborhood.
We deserve parks. We deserve playgrounds. We deserve to have these things. And just like any other community, the people in environmental justice communities deserve to be able to get out in the space to garden and to grow food and to eat that food and to share community with their neighbors.
As organizations, as institutions, as government, we have this tendency to see community in silos. You know, we come at it from the environmental perspective, from the housing perspective, from the jobs perspective, from the crime perspective, from the health perspective. But for a family, they live it in a very holistic manner. So in my mind, I think one of the best things that has happened out of government is this creation of sustainable communities. You know, this approach or the attitude where government comes together and enables so much more.